Hello everyone and welcome back to the Snakebite here. Had a little bit of a hiatus due to Hurricane Milton, and we'll have another link in the top of our description for all those affected by Milton with a fund to help support them. But let's get into some FSC sports. We have a lot to cover after that hurricane, whether it's volleyball, soccer, or cross country. We have it for you today. Both swim teams finally began their season following the cancellation of their original opener meet against FSU as they took on Florida Tech. On the men's side, the number 16 Mocs opened their season with a huge team win over receiving vote Florida Tech Panther squad with a score of 159-103. The Mocs set the tone with an early dub in the first event, with their A team comprised of Wilson, 𝙏𝙃𝙀 𝙎𝙉𝙼𝙆𝙀 and 𝙏𝙃𝙀 taking the top spot, and the B team featuring 𝙏𝙃𝙀 𝙎𝙆𝙆𝙆, 𝙀𝙃 and 𝙀𝙀 securing third place. In the 1,000 free, the Mocs swept the top three with spots from Peter Sasaki finishing first just ahead of teammates Thomas Wooldridge and Clyde Krause. The momentum carried into the 100 backstroke, where the Mocs secured the top two finishes, led by 𝙏𝙃𝙀𝙀's impressive 50.2 and Wilson's 50.62 close behind. The 100 breaststroke saw a second sweep for the Mocs, with 𝙏𝙃𝙀 taking the win at 56.65, and fellow teammates Cooper Krantz and Reese Wellen rounded out the podium, finishing in 59.79 and a minute and 10. The first half of the meet was all Mocs, and it continued that way with Anton Akopian powering to victory in the 50 free, leading yet another Moxon podium sweep. 𝙏𝙃𝙀 and William Neville followed closely behind, snagging second and third in the 100 free. 𝙏𝙃𝙀 continued to shine as well, stopping the clock at 46.14 for another first place finish. Later on, Wooldridge and Sasaki placed second and third in the 500 3, and Wellen and Kreisman followed suit in the 200 breaststroke. Florida Southern dominance continued as 𝙎𝙆𝙆𝙆 claimed victory in the 100 fly as well, and the final event saw the Moccasins relay team of 𝙏𝙃𝙀, 𝙎𝙆𝙆, Akopian, and Wilson cap off the meet with a win in the 200 free relay, finishing in a blistering minute and 23 seconds flat.
Women's swim won a closely contested season opener against Florida Tech this past Friday with a final score of 136-125. The Mocs opened the meet with a second-place finish in the 200 relay, with the team including Selly, Pelletier, Sykes, and Reed setting the tone for the day. FSC's first event win came in the 1,000 free, where Olivia Miles took the top spot, while Anya Bogdanova also earned a podium spot with a third-place podium finish as well. Freshman Ainsley Bennett followed that up with a victory of her own in the 200 free, and Pelletier and Alexa Paredes kept the Mocs in the mix by securing second and third in the event, respectively. Elizabeth Sykes earned her first win of the day in the 200 fly with a time of 2 minutes 10 seconds, followed by senior Olivia Miles finding herself on the podium, coming in third. Sophomores Phoebe Reed and Sam Hunter kept the Mocs momentum going with second and third place finishes in the 50 free, with the pair repeating that feat later in the 100 free further on in the meet. In the 200 back, Selly improved to second after placing third in the 100, and Pelletier grabbed her first win of the season in the 200 breaststroke with a time of 2 minutes 26 seconds, and Paredes finishing close behind in second place. Bennett shined again, winning the 500 free, and Sykes kept it rolling with her second win of the day in the 100 fly. Bennett closed out the individual events with a strong victory in the 200 individual, finishing in 2 minutes 11 seconds. And Sykes, Hunter, Whites, and Reed came in the clutch and sealed the meet win over the Panthers with their triumph in the 200 free relay. Both swim teams will head down to Tampa in what will be a clash between the heavyweights of the conference, with the number 16 men taking on the number 5 Tampa men and the women taking on the number 7 Tampa women on November 1st at the Reisman Aquatic Center.
And men's soccer has had a difficult start to in-conference play, which started with their home match against PBA, where the Mocs were faced with a physical battle that resulted in 2 red cards for PBA to pair with a number of yellows for both sides. The Mocs dominated in shots with 24 and shots on goal with 8, compared to just 8 shots and 4 on goal for the Sailfish. But the onslaught of shot attempts didn't lead to a win for the Mocs, as PBA keeper Omar Einerson had a breakout game with exceptional saves against some of the Mocs' top shot takers like Felix Tona and Darcy Moffitt. Einerson's 10 saves led him to winning the SSC Defensive Player of the Week honor for the week of September 30th through October 6th, and Einerson wasn't the only bright spot for PBA as they found a way to spoil the Mocs tonight when it felt all but certain that Florida Southern would pull away, scoring in the 81st minute and handing the Mocs another in-conference loss. Then there was a hiatus in all soccer due to Hurricane Milton, and the Mocs returned to action against a receiving votes University of Tampa squad who came into the game 3-1 against SSC opponents and 2-1 in official in-conference games, only losing to #1 Lynn University before facing against the Mocs. Florida Southern showed a different look in the matchup against their rival with players mixed around in the back line, including Matthias Schollner playing more of a center back role and a complete goalkeeper change, with 𝙏𝙃𝙀 taking the place of Joe O'Shaughnessy, the starter for the whole year. Both Schollner and 𝙃𝙀 shined in their new roles in a game defined by bending and not breaking, where the Mocs had their first shutout of the season and finally returned to the scoreboard, scoring for the first time in over a month thanks to, guess who, Darcy Moffitt. Moffitt scored a very Moffitt-esque goal, pressuring the back line of the Spartans on a counterattack opportunity off of a beautiful find by Ruben Lindian, which you're seeing right now, and then just fluttered the ball just over the reach of the Spartan keeper for the lone goal of the game. In the game, we saw a glimpse of what this Moxon team can look like when things really click and they play as a cohesive unit. But like the women, when faced with a ranked Florida Tech team, the men were unable to compete, falling by 3 goals in Melbourne. Against Florida Tech, the Moxons' goalkeeping problems persisted in a game where they had the statistical lead in every meaningful category other than saves. Their next matchup is against Rollins College in Winter Park, which occurred during our production time, but be sure to check FSCMocs.com for all scores and updates.
The women's soccer team has had a challenging start to conference play, starting SSC play on the road for the first 3 matchups before having to take on a number 18 nationally ranked Florida Tech team in the SSC home opener. Before Hurricane Milton postponed many games 2 weeks ago, the women took on a PBA in an engaging matchup where PBA scored in the 28th minute. Play slowed until the second half while attacking midfielder Riley Hasegawa found the back of the net just 4 minutes into the second half, but PBA immediately responded with a goal of their own just 2 minutes later, giving them a 2-1 lead that they maintained through the final whistle. Following the tough in-conference loss, the Mocs looked to respond quickly against the University of Tampa Spartans, opening up the game with a goal from leading scorer Ashley Schimberg in the 11th minute thanks to an assist from Anita Vera. Tampa, like the Sailfish did in the Mocs in-conference opener, responded soon after, scoring just 10 minutes later. Despite the Mocs' continued efforts throughout the game with their 8 shots on goal compared to just 2 for Tampa, Florida Southern was unable to get over the hump and retake the lead, ending the game in a 1-1 draw. The Mocs then finally ventured back home to face off against the number 18 Florida Tech side that the Mocs haven't lost to at home during the regular season since 2015. However, this time, the Mocs couldn't find the success in what was a game that was Florida Tech's from the jump, with them scoring in the 9th minute and piling on goals throughout the game, leading to goalkeeper change at halftime for Florida Southern. The lone bright spot for Florida Southern was Riley Hasegawa during the game, including this great display of defense and scoring to secure the Mocs' only goal of the game. Last night, under the lights at Barron Field, the Mocs took on an Eckerd team ranked 8th in the conference, and the game was very even from the start, with both teams trading blows, with the Mocs still searching for their first SSC win of the season. Eckerd looked to get going early, and they did, scoring in the 22nd minute, and the Mocs were unable to respond with one of their own. The highlight for Florida Southern, though, was freshman leader Lily O'Neill, who made 2 stellar saves, cementing her spot in the starting lineup. The Mocs have a chance to turn the tide of their season and rally in a matchup versus Nova Southeastern at Barron Field for senior night Saturday, October 26th, where they will continue to search for their first in-conference win of the season.
And I'm super excited about this Florida Southern women's soccer team because of their youth. They've had a huge youth movement the past few years, having their freshmen make a big impact. I was really waiting for Lily O'Neill to make that impact after being subbed in the previous game against Florida Tech. And we saw that in this last one, has great anticipation and great positioning. But let's move back to some other sports for Florida Southern. Let's talk about the water ski team. And the Mocs water ski team wrapped up their season at the Syndicate Water Ski Collegiate Nationals in Martindale, Texas. The Mocs placed 4th with a combined score of 10,050. Olivia Shute took home gold in the trick competition, with Aliyah Jung Hanifa placing 2nd in the jump competition and 2nd overall at Nationals. Johnny Horwood and Chris Horwood led the way for the men, and Johnny Horwood earned 4th overall, with Chris coming right behind him in 5th. What a season for Mocs water ski, despite setbacks due to the hurricane, always a nationally ranked program.
Mocs hockey returns to action this weekend with a back-to-back series at home against the University of South Florida Bulls. The Mocs are looking to bounce back after two rough overtime losses on the road to the Lynn University Fighting Knights. Come out this weekend and support your Mocs at Lakeland Ice Arena.
Conference play has been a roller coaster for the Mocs, with them beginning on a climb to the top, dominating Embry-Riddle 3-1 and Rollins 3-0 before another break in play due to Hurricane Milton. Before the stoppage in play for the Hurricane, Caroline Chambers, the backbone of the Florida Southern team, was selected as SSC Defensive Player of the Week. Once the Mocs returned, it seemed like their climb would continue, finding themselves tied 1-1 with defending national champs and #1 team in the country, University of Tampa Spartans, before the ride took a downwards turn. Following the 1-1 start, the Mocs then lost 6 straight sets as they lost to Tampa 3-1, then were swept by Barry 3-0, where the Mocs lost by 3 points or less in the final 2 sets against the Buccaneers, but were finally able to recollect a little bit and find a moment of success against a struggling PBA team, winning 3-1. The Mocs lost the first set of the match on the road against PBA before rallying and keeping PBA out of striking distance, winning sets 2 through 4 by a minimum of 7 points. One of the Mocs' major contributors in the win was Madison Fowler, who led the team in kills, attacking percentage, and blocks in the win, with her team leading 12 kills to set a new season high. Florida Southern then looked to defend home court, taking on the Ecker Tritons in what was a 5-set thriller, with each team trading sets until the 5th set, with every set except for the 3rd and 5th being decided by 3 or less points. Unfortunately for the Mocs, the 5th set wasn't in their favor as they struggled to create their own offense with a -.125 hitting percentage and 3 service errors, including the game-winning point for Eckerd off of one of those service errors.
Women's golf had an action-packed last couple of weeks. Junior Kaylia Musso delivered another standout performance for Florida Southern, earning her second top 25 finish of the season at the Southern, hosted and won by Georgia Southern at the Savannah Golf Club. Musso tied for 24th place in a tough field of 13 teams that included 11 Division I programs. Florida Southern finished the tournament in 13th place overall with a team score of 953. Musso recorded 6 birdies and 31 pars throughout the tournament, finishing with a final score of 232. With another top 25 finish for Musso and plenty of fight for the Moccasins, Florida Southern looked to build on this experience as they prepared for their next matchup the following week. The Lady Mocs finished their fall season at the St. Leo Invitational on the 22nd, taking 11th place with a team score of 914 at the challenging North Course at Lake Hovita Golf and Country Club. Ashley Angelo led the charge for the Moccasins and made a stellar season debut. Angelo climbed an impressive 19 spots in the final round, securing a 20th place finish with a 6 over. Her final round was 171 and was the best of the tournament, following earlier rounds of 76 and 75. Kaylia Musso had a solid showing at as the top team scorer, finishing in 39th place with a total of 227. Not far behind, though, were Claire Gimple and Ava LaBelle, both tied for 42nd at 229. Freshman McKinley Holden closed in 58th place, finding her rhythm after an opening with an 83 and finishing 1 over 73. Gabriella Shortridge, Taylor Zachary, and Marissa Cardenas rounded out the Moccasin squad, finishing 62nd, 65th, and 68th. The top SSC team finish came from the host number 17, St. Leo, who finished 2nd overall and 17 strokes behind number 5, Anderson University, who finished 12 under. With the fall season in the books, the Mocs will now focus on preparing for a bounce-back spring campaign, and the number 10 Mocs men's golf team will finish their fall campaign the 28th and 29th at the Citrus Intercollegiate Competition in Orlando, Florida, after the cancellation of the Copperhead Championship last week.
And last but definitely not least, both cross-country teams have had a busy 2-week period with changes in races and now gearing up for the Sunshine State Conference Championship competition at Holloway Park. But we'll talk about that championship in a second. Let's first dive into the meet changes that the Mocs handled with grace, as their initial plans of flying up to Illinois for the Lewis Invitational were thwarted by Hurricane Milton, leading to a last-minute change needed to find a way to get a race in before conference for the top members of the team. The Mocs found a way to race by returning to Huntsville for the University of Alabama Huntsville Chargers Invitational, where the usual suspects shined. Starting with the men, guess who? Christian Giller again continued to climb the record books, running a blistering 24:19 for 18th overall, with fellow junior closing in behind him for 28th, and Christopher Colavita, who ran a massive personal best of 24:33 over the 8K distance, making Colavita now the 3rd fastest individual in Florida Southern history. Gillert, with his 24.19, was also selected as Men's Cross Country Runner of the Week for the Sunshine State Conference for the third time this year, better known as every time that he's raced. The junior class's success didn't end there, though, with Caleb Brady finally dipping under the 25-minute mark and finishing third overall on the team with a time of 24:56. With the strong showing from these three, the Mocs were able to finish fifth overall in the competition and second in the competition, brimming with South Region competitors out of all South Region foes. Let's not move on without talking about the ladies, who finished seventh overall and third out of regional competitors. Leading the way for the Mocs in what was a historic performance was Emma Musante, running the fourth fastest 6K in program history with a time of 21:33, just a second behind her personal record. Ellie Fluman shook up the all-time record book too with a new PR of 21:50, the 10th fastest time in program history, but we can't leave out the third finisher for the Mocs and top 50 finisher overall, Emma Pfeiffer, who had one of, if not the biggest PR in program history between 6K, smashing the record, what may be the record, with a 2-minute and 6-second improvement from her 6K last year at conference. And these ladies are looking extremely dangerous going into this conference bout. And there's a lot of tough teams in conference on the women's side. Tampa, they are always among the top teams in the country. And PBA and Nova are looking pretty good as well this year. But the ladies looking to cause some chaos, and the men looking to defend that throne. But also basketball, they're getting into things, the smaller sport on campus. Men's basketball, number 2 in the conference in the preseason ranks, 3 first-place votes behind national runner-ups Nova Southeastern. The women, number 8, tied with Barry University. Let's see if they can climb those rankings sooner than later. We'll be back to you next time.